I'm gonna go ahead and keep it a buck and say that I never saw myself making a second Total War video on this channel, let alone a third Total War video on this channel, but the last video I made because I wanted to issue more of my grievances with Total War, and this one I kind of just want to explain some of the questions that you guys had in the last video because you guys dislike bombed it for your own reasons. Obviously I touched a nerve with a lot of the things that I said, but here I want to kind of explain some of those things, and I want to start off by saying that the reason I started the last video talking about who I was in the Total War community, which is Sunjetsu, and who I am now, is because I start those videos off for my main core audience, not only on this channel but also on my other channel, because they have no idea what's going on. They don't know what I was, who I was, what I did before. A lot of them don't, so that's kind of why I had to explain it for them. And then I went on with my grievances with Total War. Now I'm gonna go ahead and make it abundantly clear. I love Total War. I love the Total War games. I still play them, especially Three Kingdoms and the modded games like 1212 AD, and I have played a lot of Warhammer 2. That's the second thing. I actually like Warhammer 2. I've grown to like it. I love playing as the Lizardmen, the Elves. I honestly like all the factions in Warhammer 2, and I have gotten a new appreciation for the lore and for the game. Now, the third thing I want to clear up, I actually have a little bit of excitement for Warhammer 3. I definitely will get it, but the issue that I have, the problem that I have, is that Warhammer 3 has killed traditional classical historical Total War. That's my issue. That is my main concern. Now, a lot of you guys are saying, well, you know, Total War has gone through a lot of historical titles, even recently with the Kingdoms of Britannia, Three Kingdoms, and Troy to a lesser effect, so there are still historical elements. Yes, I understand that. The issue that I have is that the last two entries in the historical model, they have huge fantasy elements to it that really don't jive well from what I want from a historical game. They don't jive well, they don't mesh well with what I want. I want a purely historical game like the old ones, and then leave fantasy to Warhammer. Let Warhammer have the fantasy elements, and then the historical side have historical elements. That is what I want going forward. I don't see that happening because of how much of an intrigue and how much the entire community as a whole is into the whole fantasy thing. I mean, you guys are saying that the fan base has basically switched and turned from historical to fantasy. They all love Warhammer, this and that. That may be true for a good portion of them, but I have been here since 2011, 2012, and I've seen it. The entire community switched overnight once the Warhammer announcement came out. There were an abundance of new players, which is always good, but they all are huge Warhammer players, and they've never played historical games, or they've played very little historical games, or they've never played a Total War game, which is also good. But the thing is, Total War kinda, as the years have gone by, has been leaving those older fans in the dust by not only changing the whole meta of the game by having fantasy, very heavy elements in historical games, but also removing elements from the games that were there before that a lot of historical players liked, like say matched combat, naval battles, a robust multiplayer, just to name like the main things that I find really irksome from the direction that the entire Total War franchise, not just Warhammer, but also the historical side, has gone through. They've gone through all these changes, and to me, they've just kind of focused on the ones that I guess are the most popular, or the ones that are easier to make, and have removed a lot of the stuff that I liked from the older ones. So with those huge changes already implemented, and them adding fantasy elements to the last two historical games, how could I not see Warhammer 3 as the nail in the coffin for a purely historical game? Now, will I eat my own words if they come out, say, with Victoria Total War or another historical series? Then yeah, I absolutely will, and I will gladly do so because I actually love Total War games. And again, I will play Warhammer 3. But at the same time, I don't see recent Total War going in that full historical direction, even from the comments that I got in the last video, where Basically, they are saying, a lot of them are saying that historical has failed, historical is dead, and people don't care about that stuff anymore, or people used to play the historical side and they much more like the Warhammer side. Or one of the comments was that Warhammer saved the Total War franchise, which I think the only way that it did was because it was a fully functioning game at the start. It wasn't broken when it first came out like Rome 2 or other games like Empire, which is just a production flaw. It's not something that is inherent to the game. It's just the way that they made the games. If you put out a broken game, people are not going to want to keep playing it. So Warhammer has done good by those standards because they put a lot of love and effort into it, which is something that they have been pulling away from when it comes to historical Total War games, Rome 2 being the best example. I was super excited for Rome 2 when I was younger, and then Rome 2 finally came out and I wasn't as excited anymore. I actually played it for a long time on my old channel and then just kind of got burnt out because of how broken it was. It kept crashing me, kept breaking on me, and then I liked the new edition that came out, like that fixed everything, put the family tree back in, and I played that with mods, but at the same time it's still not a really good Total War game in my opinion. It's not like up there with Shogun 2 or even Napoleon, honestly. So this is what I'm going to do, and this is something that I didn't want to do, but I will do it seeing as how my last video is continuously growing. If you want to see my last 2 Total War videos, I'm gonna leave them in the comment section and the description below. Go ahead and check it out, the top comments. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to begin covering the Total War games that are coming out, the Total War news that's coming out, and give Warhammer 3 not only a fair shot, but hopefully be there when I eat my words when they come out with a historical game, and I will again gladly do so because that's what I really want. I want a cool historical game. Honestly, I want one in the 18th century, Fall of the Samurai time, but just with an entire world map. That would be so dope for me. I would have a pre-order on that. I would pay whatever the price needed to be paid. And again, I am going to give Warhammer 3 a fair shot, so this isn't going to be my last Total War video on this channel. So if you do like Total War videos, I mean, I'll just talk about the news and what my thoughts are on it. But yeah, hopefully you guys want to subscribe to see me eat my words when they come out with a announcement for a Victoria Total War or World War I Total War or something along those lines, maybe a new Mesoamerican Total War or something. And actually that brings me to another point where a lot of people are saying that they've done every historical era. There are so many historical eras out there. I can't believe anybody would even write that in the comment section. They've literally covered like a few, and they still have a Medieval 3, even though they said that they weren't going to do it. They still have Medieval 3 to come out, and I feel like if that came out and that was announced and that was a purely historical game, I would be in love with that. I love medieval era, I love medieval warfare, so that would be awesome too. Anyway, here's hoping that I am wrong. This is going to be Sunscape signing off. Take care, guys.